Okay, good morning students. Today we are going to go for the next part, that is the law of diminishing marginal utility. In the last class you have studied about the meaning of utility, the meaning of total utility and meaning of marginal utility. So based on this we are going to study the next theory, that is the law of diminishing marginal utility, which will come for 6 marks for your final examinations. So the law of diminishing marginal utility is basically based on one of the features or nature of human wants, that is a particular want can be satisfied at a particular point of time. So the law of DMU was first given by H.H. Gaussen. Later on it was popularized by Alfred Marshall. So what does the law states? The law states that as a consumer consumes more of any commodity, the total utility will increase in a diminishing or decreasing manner. It means whenever we go on using a particular commodity one after the other without any break in between the consumption, the total utility will increase but at a diminishing rate. So the law of DMU is based on certain assumptions or conditions. So what do you mean by assumptions? The assumptions are those which are required to construct a particular theory. So what are the assumptions of the law? The first assumption is the standard units. Please focus on this, the standard units. So what do you mean by the standard unit? So whenever a consumer is going to have or consume a particular commodity, that commodity should have the same size, the same taste, and it should be a standard unit. It should not be too small or too large. The second one is identical units. So whatever goods they are going to have, they should be identical in nature. The taste, the size, the color, everything should be same. For example, if a consumer is going to have 5 rupees dairy milk chocolate, you should have 5 rupees dairy milk chocolate only. That's called as identical unit. No time interval. It means there should be no time gap in between the consumption of commodities. That is, a consumer should have the units continuously without any break in between the consumption. It should not be that, okay, morning I'm going to have one chocolate, afternoon I'm going to have one chocolate, evening one chocolate. That should not be like that. If you want to consume, you should consume all chocolates continuously without any break. Next year, the consumer must be an ordinary person. It means he should not be an extraordinary person, but he should be a ordinary persons like you and me. If all the consumer is an extraordinary person like Bhima, there what happens? Whatever he consumes, the utility will not go down, but utility will go on increasing. So the law of diminishing marginal utility can be explained with the help of a table and a diagram. Please focus on the table. So in the table you have seen that you are going to see there are 3 columns. The first column represents the number of chocolates. Example you have taken is as chocolates. The number of chocolates a consumer is going to consume. The second table represents the TU, that is total utility. The third table represents the marginal utility. So whenever a consumer is going to consume the first chocolate, the total utility will be 12 units. The marginal utility will be also 12 units because he is going to consume the first chocolate. When he consumes the second chocolate, the total utility will increases from 12 to 18 units, whereas the marginal utility will decrease from 12 to 6 units. When he consumes the third chocolate, the total utility will further increase to 22, whereas the marginal utility will decrease to 4. For the fourth chocolate, the total utility will further increase to 24. The marginal utility will further decrease to 2. For the fifth chocolate, the total utility will remain same as that of the fourth unit, whereas the marginal utility will become 0. And for the sixth unit, when total utility decreases to 22, the marginal utility becomes a negative. It means whenever a consumer will go on consuming a particular unit of a commodity without any break in between the consumption, the total utility will increase at a diminishing manner. And further, if he is going to consume some more units, the total utility will fall and the marginal utility will become negative. So here you cannot consume a particular commodity continuously. If at all you are going to consume it continuously, your total utility will increase, but at a diminishing way. So here, if you are going to see the diagram, on the vertical axis, that is y axis, you have taken utility, and on x axis you have taken number of chocolates as an example. So when the consumer is going to consume the first chocolate, the total utility is 12 units, the marginal utility is also 12 units. So here we are going to represent the two curves, that is the downward sloping curve which represents marginal utility, upward sloping curve which is going to represent the total utility. For the second chocolate, the total utility will increase to 18 units here, whereas the marginal utility will fall to 6 units. For the third chocolate, it further increases to 22 somewhere here, and again the mu will decrease to 4, and for the fifth one it becomes 24, and mu becomes 0. When you consume the sixth chocolate, the total utility will fall to 22 here, whereas marginal utility will become negative. So here mu has become negative. So below 0, it is nothing but it is called as a negative. And here the TU curve in the diagram first rises upwards from left to right in the beginning at an increasing rate, and then it will start to fall. Whereas mu curve, it slopes downwards from left to right, it reaches 0, then it becomes negative. And the law of DMU is based on certain limitations. So what are the limitations? The law of diminishing marginal utility is not applicable in the law of DMU is not applicable in the collection of stamps, old coins and antique pieces. It means whenever you're going to collect more and more old stamps, there will be more utility to go for the old stamps. Similarly, it also refers to the old coins as well as antique pieces like picture of a Mona Lisa. Second one, it is not applicable to money. So whenever a person goes on to earn more and more money, his desire to earn money will not decrease, but it will increase. No doubt, after a certain point of time, the desire to have money will decrease, but it will never fall to 0. Third one is, it is not applicable to the nature or beauty. So the more we are going to observe the nature, the more we are going to see the beauty, the more will be our utility to see it. Thus, the law of diminishing marginal utility states that whenever a person goes on consuming a particular commodity one after the other without any break in between the consumption, the total utility will increase, but at a diminishing rate. So what are the uses of the law of DMU? The law of diminishing marginal utility will help the government to determine what type of the goods the government should go for, and what type of the goods the government should implement more and more level of the taxes. So from this point of view, the law of diminishing marginal utility holds an important position. And the law of diminishing marginal utility will also depends upon the law of demand, because the more, whenever you are going to pay more, the demand is going to be less. When you are going to pay less, the demand is going to be more. And here you are going to pay till that particular point of time, till the level of the price which you are going to pay will be equal to the utility or the satisfaction which you are going to derive from a commodity. So that relationship between the demand and the price and between the law of DMU we are going to study in the next class. Thank you.